next morning to check on him, fully expecting him to be torn apart. You know what they found? Daniel over by the water, sound asleep, right next to hungry lions. Daniel wasn't worried, wasn't taking tranquilizers, wasn't hiding in the corner. Daniel was in peace. He knew he was lion-proof. He knew the storm could not take him where God could not keep him. Maybe you feel like you're in the lion's den. Maybe a fiery furnace. You could easily live all stressed out, all worried. God is saying, come back to that place of peace. He has you in the palm of His hand. As long as you're being your best, honoring Him, the winds may come, but He will shift the winds in your direction. Instead of defeating you, they will promote you. What is now your test will become your testimony. I know this lady, she got a bad medical report. The doctors found what they thought might be cancer. We prayed and believed that the report would come back negative, but a few weeks later they found out indeed it was cancer. She's been coming here a long time, and she knows she's not a victim, she's a victor. She understands this principle that God is in control of the storm. She didn't get bitter, angry. Her attitude was, God, I've prayed, I've believed, I've done my part. Now, God, I'm going to trust you. I believe these winds will blow me to where you want me to go. For 1 year, she took chemotherapy. Today, she is 6 years cancer-free. You know what she does? She's not only one of our prayer partners that prays for others, but she goes back to that hospital and volunteers to encourage people that are facing cancer. See, it's great for God to deliver us from the fire. That's always our prayer. But what I want us to see today is even if it doesn't happen that way, God is still going to take care of you. He's in control of the winds. He's the one calling the shots. And if He chooses to not deliver you from the storm, stay in faith. That just means you're going to have a greater testimony. You're going to see God's favor in a new way. I love the fact that she is now helping people overcome in that same area. Your test will become your testimony, where you can tell people, hey, look, God did it for me. He can do it for you. When we were trying to acquire this new facility, God didn't deliver us from the storm. It was one battle after another. God could have given us the victory the first day we prayed, just as easily as He did 3 years later. He's God. But no, His ways are not always our ways. During those 3 years, I learned to trust God like I had never trusted Him before. Some things you can only learn in the storm, when the battle's raging, when you don't know how you're going to make it. That's when you'll experience the faithfulness of God like you've never experienced it before. Now I can tell people with confidence when it looks impossible, when the odds are against you, when the medical report says no way, when the financial situation looks bleak, when your own thoughts are saying you're not going to make it. No, let me tell you firsthand, the God we serve can make a way. He is a faithful God. You see this building, this beautiful facility? This is the goodness of God. If He did it for us, He can do it for you. Your test will become your testimony. The ship Paul and the crew were on hit a big sandbar and ended up breaking all apart. They all swam over to a small island called Malta. That's not where Paul was planning on going. He could have thought, God, you said I'd stand before Caesar. What happened, God? Your plan didn't work out. No, that storm didn't stop God's plan. It was a part of God's plan. On that small island, the chief's father was extremely sick. Paul prayed for him and he was healed. One by one, they brought other people to Paul. He prayed and God healed. Paul ended up sharing his faith and the whole island came to know the Lord. What happened? God used the winds of that storm to blow Paul to people in need. Had it not been for the storm, the father would have never been well. The people would have never heard the good news. The storm may have been meant for your harm, but God knows how to direct the winds and not only protect you, but to take you to a place where you can be a blessing to somebody else in need. On the way out of your storm, don't be surprised if you have interruptions, inconveniences, not what you had planned. God ordained that so you can be a blessing. Don't just look for your miracle, become someone's miracle. As you reach out to others in need, as you lift the fallen, as you encourage those that are down, as you become a friend to the lonely, that's when your breakthrough will come. The scripture says, pray one for another so that you may be healed. One of the tests you have to pass is being good to somebody else in the midst of your storm. That's what a friend of mine did. He's one of our staff members. Craig and his wife Samantha have a little boy that has autism. Of course, that's not what they had planned in life. They could have gotten bitter, angry. God, why did we end up here? We're good people. How come we're facing this storm? No, their attitude was, God, we know you're in control of this storm. We believe your winds will blow us to where you want us to go. Craig used to be the head of our children's department. A few years ago, he realized how many people couldn't come to services because they have children with special needs. So he started the Champions class. That's a class for special needs children. Today there are over 300 kids in that class, plus many more parents and family members can come and enjoy the services. Not only that, other churches across the country have copied our model. And now there are Champions classes for children with special needs in churches all across the country. What happened? God used that storm to blow him to people in need. He realized God was directing the winds of that storm. Here's the amazing thing. Their little boy keeps getting better and better. The first few years, he couldn't speak in complete sentences, but now he is able to talk. You've heard him say, this is my Bible. I am what it says I am. As Craig and Samantha help others, God is meeting their own needs. I've heard the saying, when everything comes against you, remember, airplanes take off against the wind, not with the wind. Those winds were never meant to push you down. They were meant to lift you to a higher level of your destiny. When an eagle faces a storm, he doesn't try to fight his way through the wind, through the rain, frustrated, struggling, putting forth all this effort. No, he simply stretches out his wings and he lets the strong winds lift him higher and higher. Finally, he rises above the storm where it's as calm and peaceful as can be. When the winds are blowing, things come against you. It's easy to get frustrated and start fighting and trying to change things that you were never meant to change. Worried about the medical report, can't sleep at night, anxiety, fear. No, be an eagle. God, I've done everything I can.